Hey everyone, welcome to Smudged. This is Stephanie Davis, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. We are with Jonell Francis, and I met her at the I Am Holistic Living Conference. You'll notice that I meet a lot of people there. It's been a really, really great way for me to get in touch with people, and Jonell is one of the ones that we started talking, and instantly I thought of all of you and realized how important it would be for her message to get to you. And so let me just turn the time over to her for a second and have her tell a little bit about yourself. How are you doing today, Jonell?
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm well.
Good.
And I'm thrilled to be here talking about my message to the world. I'm a middle-aged mom, and my message for the world is that you are meant to be well, that our bodies are designed for wellness. And what's so remarkable is that when the body gets the support it needs, it's incredibly intelligent. It has the ability to restore what is broken, what's been interfered with chemically. It's just remarkable to me how resilient our bodies are when we get behind them and are willing to give them whatever they need. Really intelligent immune system. So that's my overarching message is you are meant to be well and to feel good.
I love that.
Our company is Feel Good Foods. myfeelgoodfoods.com is our website. And we're all about supporting people and feeling good again.
Awesome. How did you get into that? Like what drew you to that?
Oh my goodness. Like, you remember when you're a little girl and you're thinking, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
There were at least 100 different things I wanted to be. And being a bowel queen was not one of those things.
No, you didn't wake up thinking, I want to do this.
I want the world to know me for my, because I love to talk about guts and elimination and all that stuff. No, this was not even in the top 10 list of things. But life has a way of taking us in crazy places if we're just willing to follow that we may never have anticipated. But when we look back, we can be pretty grateful. So for me, it began with inviting children into this world and just, I think, just the stresses of marriage and family life. After my fourth baby, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Oh,
and what I'd been experiencing for the previous, oh my goodness, like 10 years prior to that were an increasing number of health problems. When I was pregnant with my first baby, I was diagnosed with spastic colon. My second baby, I started picking up, I got rashes to my jewelry, my watch gave me welts. And with my third baby, seasonal allergies. And with each pregnancy, I would acquire more and more labels for my worsening condition. And I felt pretty rotten, actually. I had just extreme fatigue, which you'd think, to all you moms out there, you'd think, well, I'm a mom of a newborn baby. Of course, I'm supposed to be exhausted. And there definitely is a convalescent period there. But when I had that fourth baby, I was so tired that sleeping as much as my newborn was still not enough for me. So I had chronic headaches. I had these weird, skin rashes that I mentioned. I was lightheaded and brain fogged a lot. And my muscles burned when I would walk up one or two steps with either a baby in my arms or a couple bags of groceries. My muscles just burned all the time. So it's like my whole body was becoming oxygen deficient. In addition to that, I had just a lot of joint pain, a lot of pregnancy complaints. And I knew that if I got emotionally stressed, that would send my gut off to some other planet. And I also knew that if I ate sugary foods on an empty stomach, that would throw me for a loop. But then even at times where I was super, eating clean and I was really relaxed emotionally, I just felt blah. I just did not have the energy of my youth anymore. Right. And so it kind of just brought me to my wit's end and to the end of any medical advice. I began seeking some answers from doctors with that first pregnancy. And by the fourth pregnancy, I did meet a doctor who was able to diagnose me with fibromyalgia and said, this is something you'll have the rest of your life. So I can give you some muscle relaxants, and I recommend a mood elevator for you. And I thought, I'm not taking this lying down. This is chronic fatigue. This is fibromyalgia, but this cannot be the answer for me. I have so much life to live. I have so many goals and aspirations. So I just got really, really open and honest with God and said, look, if you'll show me the answers, I know you know what's going on. I'm not finding the answers medically, but I will do whatever you show me to do. If you'll just show me the way, I'm all over it. So that was the beginning of things, starting to turn for me. And I went deep. I went to our local library, found any book I could find about autoimmune disease or about fibromyalgia, and began learning about this interesting thing called leaky gut syndrome. And finally now, the previous 25 years of my life made sense. Now I understood why I would just get sick when all my siblings were fine eating cherry pie for lunch, why I'd be in the bathroom throwing up. Oh. I mean, I was just sensitive to sugars. I had, there were just a number of anomalies about my young life that made sense to me. And one of those, will you indulge me in like a 2-minute story?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Okay, because there might be some listeners out there who know someone, know a child or even an adult who experiences seizures. I had 4 petit mal seizures in elementary school. And what we knew about those is that they were connected with blood sugar being really low, or if I ate sugar on an empty stomach, then my blood sugar would spike up and then plummet. And as my blood sugar plummeted, it would throw me into this little petit mal seizure. And so it happened just 4 times, but that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
And I wondered, even into my adult life, if that would come back again. Would I not be able to drive? Anyway, as I began searching and reading, I learned about a ketogenic diet for pediatric epilepsy that Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital was doing. And because I was just getting my feet wet with candida overgrowth and what that was all about, I watched this documentary about it from Johns Hopkins, and they said, we don't know why taking kids off sugar and gluten and anything sweet, we don't know why this works, but it does. And P.S., don't try this at home. Don't try taking yourself off sugar at home.
Okay.
So they were giving him healthy fats, but this was a candida diet. They were starving yeast. And I'm like, I know why that's working for people. So I was thrilled to know that seizures, whether they're petit mal or grand mal, are also linked with an unhealthy gut, a leaky gut, and that those two can be reversed and a life free of these debilitating symptoms can be regained. So it's really exciting information.
Is that in every case or just in some cases, like seizures and yeast?
It's just interesting to me, the connection. If I heard a statistic for when we lived along the Wasatch Front, that hospitals had far more cases of seizures, pediatric seizures, and adult epileptic seizures during the holiday times, which was really interesting to me. What happens during the holiday times? It doesn't happen at other times. Are the kids
like
stressed?
Crap?
Yeah, we eat lots more sugar. And as I, came to know different people, perhaps intimately or from a distance, who had epilepsy, then it was just so fascinating to me that happened one time in our home ward. There was a gentleman in our church group that had a seizure on a fast Sunday. So he'd gone without food. I'm like, I understand why. He ended up running through a fence. He almost killed himself. Driving in his car, had a seizure. So yeah, it has a lot to do with blood sugar. And that's why this diet for epilepsy works for Johns Hopkins. It's because it's starving the body of those sugars. But we can actually get further if we are also treating the body for yeast and other pathogens that are moving in the way. So if this message at all is resonating with anyone, I haven't explained it a lot, but if they are, please come to our website. It's myfeelgoodfoods.com, and you can learn more about leaky gut syndrome. Hit the reboot tab, and there's lots of wonderful information under frequently asked questions about what this is. Can this help my child overcome food sensitivities? Can it help my child sleep better or alleviate bedwetting, or anything in your body that's connected with the mucous membrane is connected to what we do at Feel Good Foods.
So you specialize in gut health. You specialize in restoring the balance of the flora and all of that. What are some of the ways that you do that? How does that happen?
Okay. That's such a great question. Everyone wants to know that. Once we begin to understand our health history, now what do I do about it? So what happened for me is It took me about 18 months to recover from fibromyalgia. And it was exactly 2 years when I could have all of these foods that had been problem foods for me before. I could enjoy wheat again. I could have dairy products. I could even have moderate amounts of sugar and not have it throw me for a loop. So that was exciting. And through this process, I learned several different tools that assist the body in restoring leaky gut. Now, back then, 20 years ago, the formula for recovery time for leaky gut was, if you asked a medical doctor who knew anything about this, he would say, well, you need to give 1 month of therapy for every year that you've had symptoms of candida overgrowth.
Okay.
Now it's pretty true for my recovery. About 24 months for 24 years of previous ill health due to candida overgrowth. But now using this protocol that I feel like it's just been gifted to me by the universe. I mean, there are little stories for how it all came together, but these 5 steps that are essential, these are the minimum number of steps to heal the body the fastest. And these really are the simple nutrients that your body needs to recover from leaky gut really, really fast, right? So now you could heal the body in 1 week for every year you've been ill.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 1 to 2. For children, it's even faster. Their bodies recover more quickly. Even teenagers respond. That doesn't mean adults don't respond, but for adults, count on 1 to 2 weeks on this therapy, on this protocol for every year that you've been ill. Now, one thing I just want to mention for your listeners, Stephanie, is that this is not some backwoods voodoo, natural remedy. These actually are legitimate tools to restore the body. And we have now about 24 partner physicians and clinicians who are using this protocol. They're selling it in their clinics.
Oh, wow.
So these are MDs, NDs, and DOs that are the most receptive to this kind of therapy to help people get better. It just works, is what's so exciting. So if anyone wants to know about that and hear a little bit more about, get some credibility on this system, go to our website. Again, it's myfeelgoodfoods.com. There's a physicians tab right on the navigation bar, and you can see a list of all of our partner physicians out on the sidebar and where they are. We also have a growing number of ambassadors. And these are other people in the natural health field, foot zoners, and other consultants that are also making our products available to their clientele.
That's awesome. Really fast, just kind of an overview. I've heard the term leaky gut. I have an image in my mind that I doubt is correct. What is that? What does that mean? How can you know if you are suffering from some of these ailments?
Well, there's a couple things. The first thing is, let me just tell you a little bit about who the pioneers were to discover what this leaky gut is, and a model for understanding how food allergies happen. And then your other question was, how can you know if you have it, right?
Right.
Okay. Back in 1982, there was a team of ear, nose, and throat specialists led by Orion Truss. He's a medical doctor, and otolaryngologist, that's the name for ear, nose, and throat specialist. They found it really interesting that as they would run these food allergy assays and environmental allergy panels, that there was a high incidence of allergy to mold and fungus for people. They thought, that's really curious. They began to form a hypothesis about allergies, that perhaps mold and fungus were playing a part in the mechanism of creating food allergy, right? So They began treating their patients with antifungal medications and found that there was an association between removing or killing fungus and the symptoms lifting. So they're like, all right, that confirms it. They began forming the earliest model for understanding what is leaky gut. And what leaky gut is, it is when the gut, or all over your body actually, any permeable membrane in your body, when it becomes too permeable, it's less able to perform the function that it's designed for, which is to keep essential parts of you in and keep the outside world out, right?
Okay.
So a leaky gut is a gut that's too permeable. And when it gets too permeable, then things that don't belong in your bloodstream start getting in there. They leak through into the bloodstream.
Okay.
And that's a problem. Your immune system doesn't like that. Your immune system recognizes chains of amino acids as actually organisms instead of food. Food is supposed to be broken down into its essential building blocks, right? Little tiny amino acids, essential fatty acids, simple sugars, and then basic nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. But when it sees chunks of maybe a corn molecule or a wheat molecule there in the bloodstream, it sends out this 5-alarm, bell. It's alert, alert. We have a breach in this membrane. And so the immune system floods that site with histamines to swell the opening shut so that we can't have an invader getting in anymore. And this isn't really an invader. It might just be, a corn molecule or gluten, a little bit of wheat, or it might be dairy protein or something else that has leaked through undigested that now it's on the wanted list, and the immune system kind of freaks out whenever it comes through the gut barrier. So,
which leads to the food allergies, which leads to you not feeling good. You have dairy, all of a sudden the lactose or whatever is leaking through. And so your body's attacking it, so you don't feel good.
Yeah, and this is what autoimmune condition is. When the body is attacking itself, that's what we have happening. The body is now attacking the membrane from the bloodstream side to try to protect you, to try to stop the breach and keep more of that from coming in. So the primary way the body does that is by flooding the site with histamines. And we know if we've ever had an allergy to something, your eyes swell shut, they water, your nose runs. So antihistamine is the opposite of that. But by flooding the site with histamine, then the body can sort of swell, just deal with this crisis and try to put the fire out by swelling the opening shut. And that's what gut twaddle is if you are beginning to become sensitive to foods that you eat a lot. So that was one cool thing. I loved having a model now for understanding how allergies are born. So your second question was, how do you know if you've got leaky gut? The very best way to determine that, in my recommendation, is to scan a list of symptoms connected with leaky gut, because it's pretty long. Most of our bodies are composed of permeable membrane, and whenever one of those membranes gets mucked up by an overgrowth of bad guys, this is usually yeast, fungus, mold that normally live in all of our bodies in very limited numbers, but they're opportunistic, and when their friendly bacteria, their co-residents get bounced out by antibiotics and a number of other things, then they overgrow and they begin to cause problems with the membrane. So this might not be your gut. It might actually be your ear, nose, and throat area. Maybe you have seasonal allergies, and that's because pollen or maybe even pet dander is getting into you. It's not supposed to. That membrane's designed to keep all of those environmental things out of your bloodstream. But if you get a little too leaky, then some of that pollen can get inside the membrane and then trigger the same response from the immune system, which is swelling, histamine, that kind of thing. So my first recommendation to know, do I have leaky gut, is to scan a list of symptoms. We have a list of symptoms on our website. You can just go to the Reboot tab at myfeelgoodfoods.com. Or I have a book too. I've written a book called The Feel Good Cookbook, and it has a comprehensive list of symptoms. But there's this other fun trick. Let's just say that you know that someone you love has leaky gut, and you've researched and you know what all the symptoms are, but they're not believing it. And I find this happens a lot with our men, not across the board, but sometimes they're, maybe a woman they love is researching and says, hey, I think you've got leaky gut. So the way you can help them know is they can do something called the spit test. And here's how it works. You'll get a glass of water, a clear glass of water, and set it by your nightstand before you fall asleep at night. First thing in the morning, sit up in bed. Before you get up and run around and warm up your body, just sit up in bed and work up a nice quab of spit. So this isn't a little sissy spit. It's like, get your throat into it. Okay. Get a big quab of spit right into the top of the cup. And if there is a heavy mucus in your saliva, you'll be able to see that in the clear glass of water. You'll see either the mucus will begin to fall down into the water from the floating on top, long finger-like projections into the water, or if the water becomes speckled and cloudy, that's also an indication of this mucus being present in the saliva. But if your spit just sits happily on top, little bubbles on top, and the water stays clear, then that's an indication that you may not have a systemic yeast infection going on. But I'd go for the symptoms first, and then you can confirm that doing the spit test. Anyway, and make sure you're getting a
a good bunch of spit there. Because it's easy to cheat the spit test if you just are sissy about it. You're not actually collecting up a good sample.
Right.
So anyway, there's that. I thought that sounded like but I've noticed a correlation over the last 10 years for people when they test positive for that, sure enough, and as their symptoms lift and go away, then they no longer have that mucus in their saliva.
Oh, that's so fascinating. I have a friend who wondered if she had some kinds of allergies or if something was going on. And so she went off of gluten. And she said after 24 hours of being off gluten, she recognized how much better she felt. And she said, I didn't know how sick I felt and how yucky I felt until I made this change. And so that was just another fascinating thing. If you feel like you might have something going on, for her, that was a really good way of figuring out that she really did have a problem. So in her case, where she has this, she's been diagnosed with a couple of different things. If she were to follow your protocol, that could really improve her quality of life.
For sure, it could. I had a great intolerance to wheat. Just eating wheat prior to my recovery, if I ate gravy for lunch, for example, I would just be asleep within about an hour. I mean, I would feel sleepy within 30 minutes, but like just not be able to keep my eyes open. I would be far more alert had I not even eaten lunch than eating foods that were just really dense in gluten. So this definitely will help to lift food intolerances. As far as celiac disease goes, I've worked with several people with celiac, and they found that just in 30 days, they're able to have small amounts of, like just a small piece of bread, not a whole slice, but a piece of bread without the effects to their stomach that they felt prior to it. So with something like celiac, when you have a diagnosis of an autoimmune condition, you may need to go longer than 30 days. There are always other symptoms besides just the sensitivity to wheat.
Right.
The same person, this teenager or young adult or adult, they will also have symptoms of brain fog. They're lacking the energy they deserve from the food that they're eating. Even if they're eating well, they still won't be getting the energy that they deserve. And that's another really interesting thing, that as we become more and more leaky, we're unlocking less and less energy from the food we're eating. So even though we say, well, I cleaned up my diet, but I just still feel kind of I'm not, there's a reason for that. And that's because your chemistry has now been converted from healthy respiration and unlocking energy from your food to an environment of fermentation where you feel brain foggy. All of that energy that could be going to your muscles is now being converted into alcohol and CO2. So those same people will be having bloating and gas. In addition to having celiac, they'll also be having some brain fog issues going because their chemistry is moving towards fermentation. They have a lot more alcohol going on instead of all of it converting to nice, powerful energy.
Oh, interesting. So let's say I do the spit test. It floats on top. It's beautiful little bubbles. Can I still benefit from doing a cleanse? Is it still something that's good for me to use your protocol?
Absolutely. So I would definitely go with your list of symptoms first. The spit test is just, I wouldn't use that as the primary means. If you identify with symptoms on a list of leaky gut, all the different body systems affected by a leaky gut, go with that.
Okay.
And you can turn those symptoms. I like to do this program every 18 months or so, just to tune up and prime my body, make sure I'm getting maximum energy from the food I'm eating. And I love it. So even though I don't have any symptoms that I'm aware of, it might be something as minor as this, like, oh, I just feel like I want to stay in bed and sleep. It's not chronic fatigue. It's just, I don't pop up at 6 a.m., my eyes wide open and energy good and just jump right out of bed. So if I'm feeling like having more princess time, then that might be an indication that it's time to tune up with a reboot. I just imagine that it would be a great benefit for me to do that once a year. I'm just getting around to about once every 18 months. Usually when my kids wants me to join them and do the reboot together. It's much more friendly with two. And it's great just to see what kinds of things that weren't quite, they aren't interfering with our lifestyle, but I could still be rid of them prime up with that too. So I definitely say this isn't something everybody needs. I would go by your symptoms first. Just get yourself educated with a list of symptoms. In fact, I'd be so happy to provide that to your subscribers, so they might be able to just look right through and see, would this reboot program be a great benefit to me?
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's going to be lovely. What else have you provided for our listeners? What is this reboot? What do we get to play with?
Okay, so Reboot consists of 5 products. One of these is the Feel Good Cookbook, which is a handbook for recovering from autoimmune conditions of all kinds. It's also a working cookbook for real people. It's our family's go-to. So 3 times a day, I'm pulling out that cookbook, going for whole food recipes. We no longer have food allergies in our home, but my kids still like the gluten-free pancake mix. There are some wonderful recipes here. This cookbook does have gluten in it because it's a promise of things to come. All the recipes are sugar-free and dairy-free, but anyway, so that's a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful resource to have in your home. So that's why that goes with the reboot. The other 4 products are all essential to restoring the gut. What I have for your subscribers is a sample of the Exodus GI Sponge. Now, this is a part of the reboot on day 1. The very best way to begin doing deep blood cleansing is to open up the main channel of elimination. So day 1 of reboot is you'll drink this apple cinnamon fiber drink, and it will wash down all the way through your alimentary canal, stem to stern, top to bottom, and you'll have the nicest delivery on day 2 bowel movement that you've ever had. And it's just remarkable how much better people feel when they just clear out yesterday's waste from their body today and do it before noon. So this is it's honestly fun to hear people talk about the response that they got. If we can just be a little bit, I hope nobody's eating while they're listening to this, but the first time I did this GI cleanse, all these different components together, I got a rope 3 feet long.
What?
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, so it's all right if you don't get that, but you'll love how much clearer you can think and how much lighter you feel inside when you just clean out the bowel. That's day number 1. So there are many uses for this wonderful resource. Exodus is our number 1 go-to in our family's pharmacy. And if you take a look at Reboot, if anyone goes to the website at myfeelgoodfoods.com and takes a look right there on the homepage, just scroll down on the homepage and you'll see what this looks like. This is our family's pharmacy. We don't need medications. Let me back up. We have 9 children. And for the last, 15 years, we have had these tools that you see on screen. They're fabulous for whatever ails you. And the reason I wanted to share Exodus is because it has such a broad variety of applications. First of all, it will help to normalize the bowel. It relieves constipation. It also will relieve diarrhea. It will bulk up the bowel movement and create a nice healthy stool that floats in the toilet and breaks up when you flush it. So that's a wonderful thing. I mean, everyone,
Yes.
if you own a mucous membrane, you need some Exodus. You want to have
Fair
nice
enough.
bowel every single day.
Fair
But
enough.
that's not all. We also use it to chase high carb foods. Or let's just say that your family is trying to sort through food allergies and some foods bother your stomach. Or maybe you just are like most garden variety families and you have stomach flu that enters the door sometime, or even for colds, and respiratory infections that come in. A sweep of the bowel is the best go-to measure, the very best first step when you have flu season coming around. So we use it to sweep out the bowel. If someone starts to get a scratchy throat, they take a couple doses of this and it's gone tomorrow. And we have children who've spent, they've done service in foreign countries for a couple of years at a time, and they have all taken this whole reboot with them. They especially love Exodus because if they start to feel some kind of bug, in tropical areas, problems with food and water down there. So they have loved using Exodus to soak it up and flush it out before it has a chance to really get a grip. It's also just a secret for any of you binge eaters. It's fabulous for soaking up high carb food. So let's say you have a piece of triple chocolate cheesecake and you wake up, you become conscious as you eat the last bite. Like, what did I do? I ate that whole thing. Wow, I wish I hadn't eaten that. Run for the Exodus.
take a couple scoops of that mixed in water, and the excess will soak up what you just ate. So this is just like, okay, you know, back in medieval times, people would go and pay the priest, and then so they could go out and sin. It was called grievances. This is kind of like that, only right after the fact. Like I go out and I eat something I really probably wish I hadn't eaten, but I run home, I soak it up, I lock up the carbs so I don't have to digest it all, and the body flushes it out 6 to 8 hours later. You feel the relief immediately, but the delivery comes, you know, with the natural bowel movement about 6 hours later. So there's some little secret tips. Exodus GI Cleanse is coming your way. Just use it a spoon, about a teaspoon at a time. You can take up to 10 teaspoons in a day if you're feeling sickness come on, or if your family wants to be soaking up high carb foods. So try that out. Follow the directions on the back, and I think you'll love it just like we do. It's your bowel's best friend, or your bowel's new best friend.
Awesome. You were telling me about it at the I Am conference, and I was really excited to hear about it. I didn't know that such a thing existed. And just the idea of cleaning out and making sure that everything's moving through. I'm quite excited to try this one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Right.
So in your reboot program, there's the cookbook, the Exodus sponge. What else is in there?
Well, after day 1, then the remaining 30 days of your 30-day reboot is spent removing pathogens, restoring the proper permeability to the membranes of the body, and then replacing a healthy flora everywhere. Now, the body balance capsules, these are the anti-pathogen herbs. They are amazing to remove. They've actually been called diflucan on steroids by several of my clients. And the reason for that is that we have a set of 5 really powerful herbs. The synergy of these working together is really remarkable. Not only do they hit on fungus and candida yeast, but they also have an effect on large amounts of bacteria in the wrong place. So if you've ever heard of SIBO, or small intestinal bowel disorder, it actually has a beautiful way of ironing out whatever organisms are overtaking your bowel. So it's effective against parasites. Really, Stephanie, any foods that are bitter or really spicy and hot have an antifungal effect. They have at least a mild antifungal effect. But if we just don't eat that many of them. In our culture, we don't like sit up to the bar and have bitter melon for dinner.
No,
we don't. Our foods, but we don't like them. Not in America. You know, in other cultures, Latin American culture, they actually do have some really bitter foods, bitter melon being one of those. But in order to restore balance to the body, we have to be willing to take bitter with the sweet. So that's what body balance does. These are very bitter herbs. They are to be used intelligently. Please follow the instructions because they will kill off pathogens. So we want to make sure that your bowel is moving every day, just like the instructions suggest. There's also another wonderful document that people might want to download and just play with. On our website, myfeelgoodfoods.com, there's an Explore tab. Go to the Explore tab. There's some free downloads there, some free ebooks that are wonderful. And one of these is called 5 Steps to Vibrant Health. And it explains exactly what you're asking me to explain here. As we do a reboot, we're simultaneously accomplishing 5 goals. We're normalizing the bowel, removing pathogens from the body, restoring the proper permeability to all the mucous membranes of the body, and then replacing the friendly bacteria, and finally supporting the body with good nutrition from the Feel Good Cookbook. So it sort of gives you a nutshell on that reminds you why you're doing this, why this model works, and why you want to stay the course for that 30 days. It's so worth it to feel good again.
I love that. That's so great. I'm just making a list in my mind of all the people that I know that I want to share this with and just kind of introduce them to.
Oh, please. Can I just mention one more thing then? If you have loved ones that you'd like to share this information with, we've just recently put a video on our website. It's on the Reboot tab. Just scroll down and you'll see this video there. It's a video of a class that I'm teaching this year called Fixing Leaky Gut Fast. Or it's how to unplug pain and reboot your brain. It's great stuff. It's just under 60 minutes. So if you weren't able to attend one of the Natural Living conferences where I'm speaking, you can go to my website and check that out. Please share this video with people that you know and love, that you if this resonates with you and you want them to know about it too, they can go there and get this education right on our website on the Reboot tab. Just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the video right there. Or you can also find these classes on our YouTube channel, My Feel Good Foods. Thank you so much for letting me share that. It's often so great just to have something you can hand someone rather than trying to convince them or explain all the background. They can go to the information themselves, and if it resonates, awesome. They know what to do next.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. So from your website, we can get a hold of you. We can register for classes. Do you teach one-on-one? Do you certify people in anything? How can we get more into this?
Great questions. I do have a mentoring program. There's actually 2 ways that you can, there's 3 ways you can get help from me. One is we do have a contact, and we also have a live chat. If someone's not there for live chat, just leave your question, and those are answered usually within 24 hours. The contact lets you send an email, and one of us will get to those within the week. But if you have a complex health history and would like to have some one-on-one time with me live, we have a phone consultation that you can purchase in our store, and also a brand new coaching package where I will walk with you for your 30-day reboot. This begins with an hour-long phone consultation where we record your health history and then talk about what your goals are. There's certain things we can do to tweak your diet for weight loss, or if it's joint pain, or if it's deep set fatigue. There's some little tricks we can use to help you get results faster in those areas. And then in addition to that hour, then we check in every week, and you have access to contact me to my cell phone. Now, I can only take about 3 people a month to do the private coaching. So this is for people who feel like they really want additional support. There are lots of supporting resources on the site. Our aim at Feel Good Foods is to give you all that you need to feel good again. So there are a couple ideas for you right there.
I love that. How great to have you kind of walking hand in hand and assisting people to take this on. For me, my husband and I have been kind of on a journey to figure out weight and life and everything. And it's hard when you have to do it by yourself, when you're trying to figure out how it all goes and what you're supposed to do. So I can only imagine the value of having somebody who's been on this journey, who's cured yourself from different things, to be able to walk with you and assist you in really facing it head on and claiming your health again. I can't imagine anything that's more valuable.
Yeah, I really enjoy it too. I feel like as years go by, the people that I meet, they're more difficult cases to crack and to decode. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to walk with people and learn from them too. There have been some really challenging cases and they've all responded, Stephanie. That's what's so exciting. Even there was a woman here in Oregon who had scleroderma, and that's really scary. This is a fatal autoimmune condition, and she was able to turn her symptoms around in 6 months. And it was a thrill to walk with her and witness these principles working in her case too, even when it's something that frightening. So it's powerful. If you know people who have tried everything in the book, they've been trying natural for 30 years and still nothing's budged, then it might be time to contact me and see what we can do to help you. Really, I believe in these principles. The body really is designed, it's engineered for wellness. We just got to get behind it and give it all the support that it needs. So I'd be thrilled to walk with anyone who needs that help, who needs that extra support. Most people don't. They're able to just do the program and follow the resources found online. But if you have an especially complex case, then I'm happy to bring some hope back into your life and walk with you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I just have one more question for you, and it's a question that I tend to ask everyone that we interview on our podcast. But as you've been doing this, as you specialize in gut health and help people, bring them back and bring them into wellness, what is it that you've learned or have seen in humanity that keeps you going and gives you hope for the future?
One thing I've noticed that has given me tremendous hope. I love being a part of turning it around for people. In my own journey, there were people there ready to offer me support, to give me just a gentle suggestion of what might help me next. And without those people, I just can't imagine making the journey. So I think what I would say is, I think it's paying it forward. I mean, I can't really adequately express my gratitude to those people who reached out to me, but I can reach out to others. And so I love that. I love participating in this wonderful thing called life, where when we're ready to learn, the teachers appear and friends rise up to support us in our journey. And I think that's what gives me hope in humanity. Wherever I go, I meet people who are so happy to lend a hand, to give some encouragement and some support. And I think we can get through pretty much anything when we have that kind of human help and love and support. So that's what gives me hope, is seeing that from others and being able to participate in that myself. I just want to be a part of that. It's really awesome to be a part of something larger than who we are as individuals. And that sure makes life worth living.
That's beautiful. And just along that, being able to reach out anywhere you go. One thing that we're trying to do at Smudged is invite people to become a part of this community and to support each other and love each other and help each other as we are on this journey called life. And as we interview beautiful people such as yourself, and as we learn new things, the more tools we have in our tool belt, the more we're able to assist others and really raise up the vibration of the earth and really make a difference where we are. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate how open you are and how willing you are to help and to share this information. A lot of it is things that, you think, well, this is just life. I guess I have fibromyalgia. I guess I'll have chronic joint pain, anything like that. And knowing that there's somebody who is there to help and really make a difference. That's so beautiful. Thank you for being that person.
Oh, I'm just so grateful for my own journey that I'm happy to extend that same kind of hope to other people. I can't not,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just, my gratitude drives me on.
I love that. Once again, Jonell's website is myfeelgoodfoods.com. And for those that are listening, if you want to become a member of Smudged and join up with us every month, it's igotsmudged.com. And we'd love to have you be a part of this. Jonell, thank you so much again for being on our podcast. We're so grateful to have had you.
Stephanie, it's been such a pleasure. I wish you the best, and all your viewers too.
Thank you so much. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.